Hello and welcome to Marvel Cinematic University. I am your host and Professor Alix, and with me as always is the dumb student Jacob. Hello, Jacob.
Keep saying that and it hurts my feelings more and more every week.
Well, just tell me to stop and I won't.
No, I like it.
Good. Perfect.
Keeps me humble.
Well, Jake, welcome to Marvel Cinematic University, where each week we go through another Marvel property and I teach you something about the Marvel Cinematic Universe that you probably don't know and you probably won't retain past the episode.
I barely retain it past the movie, so that stands to reason.
Yeah, I know. It's really like a big ask for me to ask you to recall stuff 2 days after you watch a movie.
Oh, I watched it this afternoon.
It's still kind of a big ask for me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jake, tonight we are talking about the second Avengers movie, Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh, we were watching that one. Cool. No, I'm kidding.
I love when you say things like that.
Before we really, get into it here, question for you. Are we recording?
Yes, I've hit the record button. I did.
Excellent.
I hit it. It's there.
No
Look,
snafus like last week.
I'm just saying, we effectively cut out 10 minutes easily without me having to do any work, so...
It was all cut work anyway, mostly.
It really was. I think we cut 15 minutes, and then when we recorded it, got up to the same part we were at 5 minutes in.
Maybe we should do that more often.
I agree.
I bet we could really cut these episodes down to about 10 minutes if we just, get all the talking out and then, start from the beginning.
So what you're saying is I should hit the record button now?
Yeah, basically.
Because I didn't hit it before. All right, Jake. Well, I'm really hoping here you watched Age of Ultron, because that's the movie we're going to be talking about tonight. Let me hit you with those, movie stats that I like to hit you with.
Give me those statistics, the statisticals, if you will.
Yeah. Here's these statisticals. This movie, The Avengers Age of...
Oh, we're doing this again tonight?
This movie, The Avengers Age of Ultron, was directed by the same piece of shit who directed Avengers.
Oh, what is his name?
He doesn't have one in my mind.
Ah.
The budget of this film was $365 million US. Would you like to guess the box office?
$689 million.
Oh, wait, you said million. I thought you said billion at first. And I was
No.
like, that's a lot of money for a movie, but then, yeah, I realized you said a million. No, it was $1.4 billion.
I guessed $1 billion last week.
I know, and you were
I was
wrong.
shady for it.
But this one was $1 billion, so you should have guessed $1 billion on this one.
Oh, I was going to say, where does this rank on the Marvel scale of movie earnings?
Don't ask questions. This movie stars Robert Downey Jr., James Spader, Elizabeth Olsen, Linda Cardellini, and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, Elizabeth Mommy Olsen makes her debut in the MCU.
Yes, this is her first film as Scarlet Witch, though the word Scarlet Witch is never said throughout this film.
Oh, they're referred to as the twins.
Yeah, they don't. So we'll get into this around, the end about the rights, because, fun fact, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are X-Men that debuted in, they're not X-Men, they're mutants from the X-Men. That debuted in Avengers comics, so they were technically allowed to use them in MCU. I'm getting into it now. I want to get into it later. The timeline
Getting ahead of yourself.
Yes. We'll talk about this in the fun facts. Anyway, right now, timeline-wise, this film takes place in 2015, same year as its release, 1 year after Captain America: Winter Soldier, and immediately between episode 19 and episode 20 of season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm sure when we go over the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 2, we'll learn all about it.
Oh, you're damn right we will. But first, now, Jacob, you must tell us about Age of Ultron.
I had strings, but now I'm free.
I think we should change it up this week. You tell us about Age of Ultron.
There are no strings on.
I don't want
It's
it.
what the fans want.
I'm pretty sure I went through the last Avengers movie because you didn't watch it.
I watched it. I didn't remember it.
Something suspicious about you wanting me to go over it. All right. Well, the film opens up It's action packed. The Avengers are attacking a little castle in the middle of some country that I did not care to remember what it was.
Yeah, I think it's called Watchcovia.
I think it's Sokovia.
Sokovia, that's it.
Yeah, the opening is in Sokovia. That's right.
It's nowhere but in the middle of everything.
Exactly. So Hydra Man,
Yep, they're back.
his name, the main Hydra Man now, who is Wolfgang von Strucker. He is in possession of the Mind Stone and a couple of twins. He went to the doctor and they said, "Congrats, it's twins."
It's twins.
So the Avengers are trying to get the scepter back because they've spent the last year trying to locate the scepter, realizing it's a special scepter. And then they fight. They have that cool, like, hey, we're still the Avengers scene where all 6 Avengers are shown side by side. Tony says some kind of swear word. I don't even remember what it is. And Steve says, "Hey, language." And Tony calls him out for being a Captain America.
I think he says like shit or something like that.
Yeah, and then Cap immediately says, "Language."
And then he's like, "I'll never live this down."
So am I really telling the plot of the whole film? Or is this the part where you're going to tell me you didn't actually watch it?
You just went right into telling it, and I was just joking before, but I got to sit back and listen to the film.
Well, now you get to take over.
Relaxing, but now I'm stressed.
Yeah, good. Be stressed.
But then Black Widow does the sunset thing with the Hulk. Sun's getting low, big guy. Tony Stark gets mind boggled by Wanda Maximoff.
Yep. I hope we call it mind boggled for the rest of this film.
I plan on it.
Good. So he gets mind boggled.
Mind juggled by her, and he sees like the death of all the Avengers and how he could potentially, or how he killed the Avengers, basically.
Keep the flying space worm from the first Avengers movie.
I'm not too sure here. This is like the same stuff from the first Avengers movie, right? Like the same flying things.
Yeah, so it's the same Chitauri like space worm things.
Yeah.
I think one of them is what's his face's ship? Thanos' ship.
Yeah. I wasn't like sure because they mentioned like there's some pretty intense technology back here at some points. I wasn't sure if it was like kind of another model or something newer than what was in the first Avengers movie, or if it was the same.
It's basically just alluding to the fact that Tony still has PTSD from that entire fight.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, it's basically alluding like, oh, he still hasn't recovered from the fact that like he's had to go through the portal to save the world, and now like clearly his current obsession is like protecting the world from aliens.
They're a very real threat. Apparently
they're the end game.
So after that they get the Mind Stone, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he grabs the scepter, and I think that's when he grabs the scepter, I think that's when the logo appears and it's the Avengers, and it's like bum 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 bum.
So when he's talking to Thor's gonna take it back to Asgard. Asgard. And Tony's like, well, let me have like 3 days with it or something. And Tony tries to create AI, artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And ends up kind of not being able to do it, but they're like, hey, let's have a party.
Yeah, well, I mean, the party was to celebrate the fact that they got the scepter back, classic Tony style.
The end of Hydra, they thought, which I think it kind of is, right?
Yeah, so we'll talk a little more about that next week. Or the week after Ant-Man, when we talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, because let me tell you, Hydra at this point kind of looks like a lot of different groups.
You cut off one head and two more grow back.
You cut off one head and an entire fucking body grows somewhere else.
So, well, Tony kind of is like, hey, Jarvis, figure this out. Just keep running sequences. Well, I'm partying. And everyone's, during the party, I think it's important to mention everyone's trying to lift the hammer.
Yeah, somebody there can lift a hammer, in fact.
Steve Rogers kind of moves the hammer a little bit. You see Thor get a little worried and runs over and picks it up.
Well, no, Tony or Steve puts it back down because he can't fully lift it all the way. Or can he?
Or can he?
Or is he maybe trying to spare an arrogant god's feelings?
We may never be sure if he ever actually can lift the hammer.
We may never
or
know.
Wield it.
Or we will.
Might never know.
Or we will.
Maybe not.
Or maybe.
Or maybe not.
Or probably, if I had to guess.
It's highly theorized as being unlikely.
I want you to know, the other day I was thinking about merch I can make for this podcast, and highly theorized is absolutely going on a shirt at some point.
Oh, it needs to.
It's highly theorized.
You should do like a beer koozie that says it's highly theorized. I only had one beer.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
It's highly theorized. I've only had a beer.
It's perfect. We could do Rizzed.
Oh,
I feel
man.
like that's taken, but anyway, back to the story. Meanwhile, the party's going on and everything.
Did you even mention when they were having their fight that the twins did some fighting? That's fine. We'll figure it out. The twins fought when they were doing fighting, and then they found out there were some freaky twins.
Yeah, I felt like that might have been implied, or we talked about it already.
Yeah, it was implied.
We mentioned the twins.
Yeah, so definitely implied. Anyway, so party, everyone's lifting hammers. Stan Lee is carried out because he's too drunk. He says Excelsior.
Because he drinks the whiskey of a god.
That's true. Thor and Tony have a dick measuring contest. Oh, Nat tries to rizz up Bruce.
She does quite a bit of rizzing in this film.
She does do quite a bit of rizzing. Captain checks in with Sam about Bucky. So then they do the hammer lift. Meanwhile, back at the base, Jarvis is about to go inform Tony that Mr. Ultron has woken up, and Ultron's like, I'm a big baby robot and I gotta learn about the whole world. So he injects all of the information from Tony's computers into his brain.
Determines that the human race has got to evolve.
No. They gotta go. They gotta get out of here.
They gotta get out of here.
He actually figures out the solution to all our problems and decides it's humans that need to go.
To be fair.
Yeah, no. His plan though, think about it, like him and Thanos as villains are pretty similar.
It's a very similar plan. They try to kind of save the universe they use the universe to destroy the universe.
So honestly, like I always look at the Avengers trilogy as starting with Ultron and ending with Endgame, because this is a full-on trilogy here where Avengers just kind of introduces the Avengers. This sets up like a lot of stuff moving on to Infinity War. Ultron gets better over time. That's my favorite thing. This movie has gotten way better over time.
So I've seen this movie probably 2 or 3 times, but I haven't watched it in a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot how much I actually enjoyed this movie. There's a lot of because I've seen some. It's highly theorized that I've seen some future movies.
You see some future episodes of this podcast? How do they go?
Oh, not well.
Oh, I didn't think so.
You can kind of see like the strings starting to get attached.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with like Cap possibly lifting the hammer and
what could
stuff
it be?
like that. Plus, on top of it, we'll get to this, but the end battle is probably one of the top 3 battles in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It is true. It's a good one.
Very good end battle.
It includes a nice a city skydive.
Yep, that's what it was doing.
I'm surprised they didn't play free falling while it was going down.
That end battle scene would have been made 10 times better with Freebird playing in the background.
Most scenes would be, though, to be fair.
True.
All right, so Ultron wakes up. He does his research. He puts himself in a destroyed Iron Man robot thing. He walks out and he goes, I got no strings to hold me down, to keep me free.
Exactly like that, actually.
And his whole goal is, like Pinocchio, he wants to be a real boy. I want to be a real boy.
My favorite thing is Ultron is played by Bob California from The Office.
Don't fucking disrespect James Spader. How dare you?
I said that's my favorite thing. It's Bob California.
You call them Bob California, but James Spader is good in everything he does, not just The Office. Boston Legal?
Oh, no, he's very good. He's extremely good in a lot of excellent films.
The Blacklist? Most of them are TV shows, actually. Actually.
But he walks out, does his little dance, and Thor throws a hammer through him, right?
Yes, I think so. That sounds about like right. That's something
Yeah.
Thor would do.
Yeah, throws the hammer through him, and then he gets uploaded to Sokovia, where he kind of like becomes Ultron.
Well, he's already Ultron. He gets some upgrades there. Yeah, so he goes into another one of the Stark robots that's in Sokovia.
Yeah.
And he puts on a little crimson hoodie and meets up with the little twinnies there.
Yeah, and he's like, "Join me, twins.
Together we could destroy the galaxy. I am your robot pal."
And then he kind of starts going on his quest and starts acquiring more soldiers and building the robots, right?
Yeah, so he starts building Stark Tech, and he starts working on his human body that he needs vibranium for. So he goes and murders Mr. Wolfgang Man, finds the location of some additional vibranium. As we know, the only known substance of vibranium is in a little frisbee.
But there's more.
There is more in a place called Wakanda that Bruce finds.
Wakanda.
That's what he calls it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Bruce goes, Wakanda. And the Avengers clearly figure out that he's in Wakanda, trying to get some of this vibranium from a man named Ulysses Claw.
And let me tell you, after he has a run-in with Ultron, he's going to need a claw because he is missing an arm.
Ain't no laws when Ultron's taking your claws.
There were no laws here because he ripped that arm right off.
First, let's backtrack 2 seconds. So the Avengers are now cleaning themselves up in the Avengers Tower. They're like, ooh, that was a little toasty little fight we just had with some robots that Tony made. They all get mad at Tony for making some robots. Thor picks Tony up and threatens to give him a swirly or something. Tony's like, hey, remember when there was a portal right above this here building that we're in? I can put a suit of armor around the world, and that's the end game. That up there, that's the end game. And then they go to the boat to Wakanda.
Yeah, they go there to fight Ultron. They have a little scrap, but now the twins are back. She does some more mind-boggling with her powers.
She mind-boggles Steve. She mind-boggles Bruce. No, she doesn't. She mind-boggles Bruce to become the Hulk, but she also mind-boggles Black Widow and Thor. But she can't mind-boggle Hawkeye because he doesn't want to be mind-boggled again because he was mind-boggled in the first Avengers, and he's like, this movie, I'm signing a contract. I'm not getting mind-controlled. I'm going to be the good guy the whole movie. Jeremy Renner got himself a good agent for this one.
Yeah, he said no mind-boggling in my contract.
It was so good, his agent negotiated an amount of Infinity War.
And she turns the Hulk, Bruce Banner, into the Hulk, and then he rampages through Wakanda City.
It's actually, they're not in Wakanda. They're right outside of Wakanda. At this point, they're in an African city. Remember, Wakanda is a little village as far as these hooligans know.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so they're having a little scrap in this city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really. Hulk is rampaging through this city.
Yes, that's more like it.
It's not so much a scrap until Tony gets there. In the suit that's named Mavis and Butthead.
Mavis and Butthead. Yep, that's he calls down Mavis and Butthead to me.
Yeah.
No, he calls down a robot called Veronica.
Veronica. Yes.
Do you know why the robot is named Veronica?
I do not. Would you like to inform me?
I would. In the original Hulk movie, who was Bruce Banner's love interest?
Veronica.
Betty Ross.
Oh, yeah. lady that made the flag.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was Betsy Ross. Absolutely wrong. That's Betsy Ross, not Betty Ross, you idiot.
You can see the confusion.
Anyway, his love interest, Betty Ross. Betty and Veronica are Archie's main love interests in the Archie comic books. So, as a fun little joke for Tony, he named his robot Veronica, also known as the Hulkbuster.
And needs to be maybe a little stronger.
Listen, it's the best. It's powered by 7 different arc reactors.
There's quite a few. My personal favorite is when he has that like jackhammer, and he just goes, "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep,"
and he just throws them through a building.
And then kicked into an elevator. Tony catches the people falling in the elevator, tells them to get off, and then hits Thor with, or not Thor, the Hulk with an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And Hulk just looks at him, spits some spit out.
And a tooth.
And Tony goes, "I'm sorry."
It was at that moment he knew he fucked up.
And then Tony flies him through a building while saying, "How quickly can I buy this building?" Flies him through the building, and then, Hulk still gets up. He's kind of dazed, bunch of guns pointed at him, and then Tony really just clocks him one and knocks him out.
And he goes to sleep.
But Nat couldn't put him to sleep because
she was getting mind boggled.
She's got her mind boggled.
She's looking at what she had to go through to become a little Black Widow lady.
Her mind's saying, "Go fish."
She's a ballerina one moment and an assassin the next moment.
That's how it works.
She's in the Red Room, I think is what she called it.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation to ballerinas and assassins in Russia.
All right, so she got mind boggled. Steve gets mind boggled. A little mind boogling. He sees Carter. They go to the dance floor. He's like a little dancing guy, and she's like, "Come on home, the war's over." And he's like, "The war ain't over yet. There's a whole Ultron out there."
And he's not as affected as the others.
What do you mean? Oh, well, I guess he's not as traumatized by it.
Yeah.
It's because he's been compartmentalizing his trauma for the last 90 years, so he's gotten pretty good at it.
He's a skilled I understand your struggles now.
I like when I mess up a word, you call me out for it, and then you mess up the exact same word. That has happened way too many times on this thing.
To be fair, they are tricky words to say in a sentence.
Exactly.
Let's keep it to one syllable here.
Now let's talk about Thor's mind boggling, because he also got a little mind boogle.
Yeah, he sees
he sees Heimdall.
Ringdall on
Heimdall, not Brandall, you idiot.
Heimdall.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba.
He sees Idris Elba, and Idris Elba's like, "We're all gonna die. It's time to party."
And he's blind too.
Well, he's always been blind.
Has he?
Yeah. He's blind, but he can see everything.
So I thought so, but Thor at some point, I thought he said, "You're blind. What happened to your eyes?" So that made me second guess.
Because he wasn't able to see he said he couldn't see everything anymore.
Oh.
And that was his whole thing, is he could see everything everywhere all at once.
Gotcha.
Which is a pretty good movie, so I'm glad he can watch it all the time. So he sees Heimdall. Heimdall's like, "Hey, something big like an apocalypse, also maybe possibly known as a Ragnarok, is coming."
What? That's crazy.
And he's like, "Your people have lost faith in you. Where the hell are you at, boy?" And Thor's like, "I gotta go join my little boys in the spandex again. I'll be back later." So
I'll come back to the Asgard.
I'll get to the Asgard after I'm done hanging out with my boys. America's ass and Iron Dick.
The Iron Cock.
So then they get back onto the Quinjet. Everybody's traumatized. A nice little healthy dose of mind-boggling trauma. They decide to go back to Hawkeye's ranch.
Hawkeye's ranch, where there's an agent and a couple little agents.
Yeah, a lot of agents there who also happen to be Clint's family.
What? Who knew?
Where everyone in the theater collectively goes, "What?"
What? Except Black Widow, who knew, but...
Yeah. Hawkeye is dating Velma? Dinkley?
Captain America
Mhm.
and Iron Man, Tony Stark, they're chopping wood.
Are they now? They're outside chopping wood? Are they
They're
chopping their
chopping-
own wood or each other's wood?
They seem to have different piles.
Okay, so they're chopping their own wood together.
Captain America's pile much larger.
It's not this. Tony will tell you it's not the size of the pile, but the pleasure of the women he's used that pile on.
Or just how you chop it, really.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be fair, Cap's chopping it with his bare hands.
Yeah, like that.
Don't get him angry. You won't like it when he's angry.
Captain America, the Hulk. Mrs. Hawkeye is like, hey, can you go fix the old tractor in the back there? And Tony's like, sure. And then he walks in there, and who steps out?
A dead man.
A dead man, because no one would ever die in Marvel.
I mean, it's true.
We'll get there.
Nobody's dead yet.
Not yet.
Oh, we should. Did we mention that Jarvis is dead?
We did not mention that Ultron killed Jarvis.
So, speaking of people who die,
More or less.
all right. So yeah, so they're at the farm. Fury's like, yeah, I'm alive, boy, and he's like, thanks, Dad. Help me with the tractor. Also, no. We'll talk about this when we talk about Captain Marvel and maybe my fun facts. But no, Nick Fury is very mad about Tony playing with AI, almost like he's dealt with AI before.
Because he says, don't bring this one to life.
Yeah. So then they go into the kitchen. Fury's cutting some bread. I think he's like, there once was an idea that we'd bring a group of special people together. Oh wait, no, sorry, the wrong movie.
Wrong movie.
Coulson died in the last one. R.I.P.
Never returned.
Actually, in the shed, Coulson pops out.
I wouldn't have been surprised. You know, if this was the first time I saw this movie, I wouldn't have been surprised if Coulson just popped out of nowhere.
I mean, everyone's alive. You probably would have seen the guy from the blender pop out too.
I'm waiting for him. He's actually an Endgame.
Blender Man, got blended, now he's in a can.
Canned man.
Man, okay, so we're definitely gonna have a shirt that says Blender Man.
Red shirt.
Well, only part of it. A little splatter of red.
Half red, half white. All the youths will be wearing it. It'll be a huge hit.
All right, so they come up with a plan to. Oh, we also forgot to mention that Thor is now off with my boy Selvig. They went to the Lake of Sight or something like that.
I think it's the Puddle of Sorrows.
I think it's the drip drop water of silliness.
That's the name right there.
He takes a little bath, splish splash. He was taking a bath. He just needed a rubber ducky, and
He decided he was gonna be a silly goose, so he got back in the pond.
So some lightning hits him. He starts seeing some pictures of the Infinity Stones. 4 of them, the 4 we've seen so far through the MCU, are placed on a little suspicious yellow-looking cloud thing.
Yes, I wonder what that could be. Some kind of gauntlet, I would assume.
Some kind of infinity cloud. He also sees Vision's eyes.
Yeah, and thank goodness, because the Avengers are now heading to Sokovia.
Nope, so this is... Maybe it is Sokovia, I don't know. They're going to some hospital where Ultron has hired Dr. Amadeus Cho. No, sorry, Amadeus is her son. Dr. Karen Cho? Hold on, I have a name here somewhere.
Yeah,
Dr. Helen Cho, that's what it is. Dr. Helen Cho.
Yeah, so they're going there
because Helen Cho is making Vision, who's gonna be Ultron's body.
Because she's under the mind boggle.
Yeah, or he's just threatening her. I don't remember which one.
Well, because at one point when...
Oh yeah, he touches her with the scepter, that's right.
Yeah, because when Quicksilver and Wanda are there, she does, like, under her, kind of off to the side, she goes... and unmind boggles.
She does the mind boggle finger?
Yeah, but she does the unmind boggle movement.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The reverse.
So Ultron's like, or not, yeah, Ultron's like, here's my body. It is Vision. I will be a real boy, like Pinocchio. And Dr. Helen chose.
They use vibranium to create Vision, right?
Right, that's why he needed the vibranium from Dr. Clawman. I think that might be the villain from Gadget, Inspector Gadget. Turns out Iron Man's Inspector Gadget. Da 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 da. Inspector Stark. Do 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 do. They do that. He makes the body. It's from vibranium. He puts the Mind Stone in the little cap of the guy. And then the Avengers show up and are like, this is our body now.
This is ours. We're taking it.
And then a nice little fight ensues.
Because Ultron flies away with the body at this point.
No, so the Avengers get the body. He flies away. He flies away with another body named Natasha Romanoff.
This is during the fight because she flies the body off of a ship.
Yeah, and he grabs her while she's flying, not off of a ship, off the back of a flying truck.
Yeah, well, if it's flying,
it's a truck ship.
It's a truck ship. It's shipping. It's a shipping ship.
So she puts the body into the Quinjet. He grabs Natasha, flies off. They get back to the Avengers Tower with Vision's or Ultron's body that may or may not become Vision later on. Tony's like, let's use some artificial intelligence. Like he's learned
go wrong.
Like he's learned absolutely nothing from this entire experience.
Classic Tony. I mean,
and Bruce is like, is this Groundhog Day?
Is this Groundhog Day? Is this happening again? But I mean, in the meantime, Captain America, Steve Rogers, he becomes friends with the twins.
No, he just becomes. Is it both the twins?
It is.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was both twins that turned or just. Yeah, it was both, huh? Yeah, and he's like, "You children are children. You must be protected." Cut to the next movie where he kicks Peter Parker in the chest with his goddamn frisbee.
Well, I mean,
he beats he says, "Oh, Scarlet Witch, she's a child. She can't be in battle." And then he beats the living crap out of Peter. But anyway, back to this movie. So he chit-chats with them. Tony chit-chats with Bruce. Thor at this point starts to come back while Hawkeye's like dicking around with his arrows.
Yeah, shoots. Well, they're kind of having a little scramble, if you will, in the Vision room.
Well, they start to have a debate whether or not Vision's going to come back.
They start to debate with their weapons.
They're like, do we let Tony do the AI thing again, or do we make him fuck off?
So they have a slight disagreement, and then while they're fighting, Thor comes in and strikes the stone with lightning.
Yeah, he rubs his hammer together and clear
like that, brings Vision to life.
And Thor's like, I had a vision. It was him, and that's how Vision got his name.
I think Ultron calls him my Vision too.
Yeah, that's true. He does call him his Vision for the body, but Thor also says, "This is I had a vision. It was him," and then they start referring to him as Vision from now on.
It's like when you get a bad nickname in high school.
Also, I don't think we mentioned Tony saved Jarvis from some firewall group, and Jarvis is what he put inside of Vision.
Even though Vision's not really Jarvis, he's Jarvis.
Well, he's the same actor.
Same actor.
Not the same actor who plays Jarvis in Agent Carter, but he is the same actor who plays Jarvis in Iron Man.
Yeah, he got a better agent and got some actual screen time this time.
Honestly, it's true. So one of my favorite, I actually don't know why I didn't put this in the fun facts. One of my favorite stories from this movie is right before this. Oh God, what is his name? Paul. Is it Paul something? Hold on, let me look it up.
Paul Bunyan.
Who plays Vision? That's actually surprisingly close, I think.
Paul Runyon.
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Yeah.
So Paul Bettany went into an interview for a role, and the person said, "You're never going to work in Hollywood again. Like, you're not a good actor. Your career is over." As he was about to like just quit acting, Kevin Feige called him. I think it was Kevin Feige. It might have been the piece of shit director, but I think it was Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige's like, "How would you like to play Vision in the upcoming Avengers movies?"
What a break.
And he's like, "Do I get screen time in a Marvel movie? I don't just get to be a voice anymore?"
Yeah, and that casting director there has since been, taken out back in Hollywood and dealt with.
Probably.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're casting too much anymore. Probably casted the first one, if I had to guess.
Oh man, he definitely loves Edward Norton. Big Edward Norton guy.
Yeah, big Edward Norton guy and Liv Tyler guy.
Yeah, so they bring Vision to life. Vision holds the hammer, and everyone's like,
There's no one else that could do that.
And Steve's like, "That's too easy. That doesn't mean he's good."
Easy.
And then they all suit up and get onto the Quinjet to go to Sokovia, where Ultron is holding Natasha captive. I said he puts a little rocket in the city.
Well, yeah, a rocket.
Not the raccoon.
Should have. That would have been. They really needed the Guardians of the Galaxy in this film.
Not yet.
They didn't know yet. Vision does give a nice rally the troops speech, though. I think that's important to know.
Yeah, he's like, "We're down in the third quarter, team, and we're gonna rally here. And now my body's made of vibranium, so we're good."
Yeah, we're good. What could go wrong? There's definitely not going to be a floating city.
No,
that's not going to happen. I keep getting off track here. I'm losing my train of thought.
It's a good thing we're splitting this into two parts.
Yeah. So my question was, Hawkeye figures out where Natasha is, right?
Yeah, somehow. Oh yeah, he like tracks her like shield inhibitor thing.
Well, I think they're like, did she leave any like old like spy clues laying around?
Oh yeah, that's right. She did something with a satellite. I think Hulk sniffs her out.
Hulk sniff. So that's how they end up going to Sokovia. Tony runs into Ultron, who's trying to do this lift the city off the ground thing.
Yeah, he's like, we make it go high, we make it go low.
And they're also trying to like clear out all the people, so no one gets myrtled.
No myrtle in here today.
Nope. And that's when they, all the robots Ultron has been creating come out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when one of the best battles in the MCU ensues.
You think this is one of the best battles?
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, the robots crawl up onto the land starts to float, and everyone's partying.
And they're like, Vision, you told us the land definitely wouldn't float.
And Vision's like, I don't know the future. It's not part of my power set.
I didn't get mind boggled.
They start just killing robots, and Ultron's like, "I'm Ultron, baby." And they're like, "Yeah, but we're going to kill all the other Ultrons." And then the people start getting hurt, and they're like, "How are we going to evacuate all these people?" And then...
who shows up again?
Rhodey!
Yep. And the old aircraft carrier. And they start bussing people to the old craft carrier, which is bussing.
I wonder where this helicarrier has been kept for the last year while Shield has been down, since there's no Shield. Where could this helicarrier have been for the last year?
It's like, there's no way to be sure, really.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to find that out until 2 weeks from now when we watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I have a feeling it's been kept at Sokovia this whole time.
No, that'd be weird. How'd they know the fight was going to be in Sokovia?
Well, it's nowhere, but it's everywhere.
If only Nick Fury had somebody he trusted that he could keep his helicarrier with while he doesn't need it.
If only.
If only. Anyway, so yeah, Nick Fury shows up. Hill is there. She was in the beginning of the movie, but I don't think we mentioned her at all.
Nope.
And also, fun fact, the guy from Winter Soldier who didn't turn on Captain America is also in there. He had a conversation with what's her face, Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
the little computer guy.
Is he that guy? He's kind of the guy like calling the shots, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I recognized his mug.
Yeah, he's from Captain America Winter Soldier. Anyway, so yeah, they get the people on board, and then Ultron's like, well, we're just gonna murder all the superheroes. And
Wait, hang on. I think it's funny to mention here that, because we kind of skipped over it, Rhodey was trying to tell a story at the beginning at the party, but like it was only a big hit with like the non-Avengers.
Yeah,
like,
because it was nothing to it was a Tuesday for the Avengers.
Yeah. And then he's like flying around. He's like, this is going to make such a great story. And then Vision comes in and kind of steals his thunder.
Yeah. Classic Vision.
A little important to mention there. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. I was very happy when they included Rhodey in this. You know what we've never done? Maybe we'll go back in one of these later episodes and go look at it. But there is a comic book that says where I think it's actually the comic book for this movie. It tells us where Rhodey was during the events of the first Avengers movie.
Oh, yeah. We never went back.
Because he doesn't appear in the Avengers at all.
No. Where is Anthony Mackie during all this?
He's busy, of course.
Of course. Other more important things to attend to than the world ending, potentially.
Yeah, he's looking for Buckable Barnes.
Who?
Buckable Barnes.
Oh, Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, everyone knows Bucky short for Buckable.
Definitely. Buckwald Barnes.
Then they do a cool Avengers pose, as they have to do in every single one of these movies.
Yep, where they're like, this is it. This is the final countdown.
It's the final countdown. Kill the robots. Kill all the Ultrons. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, so they kill the robots. Hawkeye gives Scarlet Witch a little pep talk. Quicksilver runs away from him, and Hawkeye's like, no one would ever know. Nobody would ever know.
No one would ever know. And that's when Hawkeye's about to get out. He's on the bus, actually. And lo and behold, who ruins the moment? A kid. And, you know, I've said my piece about kids in movies before, but this kid, like, has a perfectly good set of stairs he can walk up.
He's no swimming in Captain America kid.
Yeah, no, that kid was a true hero. You know, and this kid here is just, I can't climb up 3 more stairs. My poor trash mother left me behind to die. And because her mom gets on the plane like, oh, kid. Guess what? Your kid's sitting on the top step of a stairs, unable to climb it. Probably should have left him there. Because now Clint's got to run back and go get him.
So Clint goes to get him, and what happens?
Ultron, who, you know, the whole punched into next year, somehow found a plane or a ship and starts just laying scunion down on the whole city. Barton's like, this is the end, and then Quicksilver moves a bus in front of him, but, you know, wears a ton of rounds, like they're a jacket, and
he caught the bullets.
He caught the bullets, all right, and this is where he unfortunately dies.
Unfortunately?
I think Quicksilver would have been pretty cool to have in a lot of movies.
He wasn't my favorite character. We'll talk about that in the next episode when we go through the second part of this this podcast. I don't know what I was going to say. The second part of this episode.
That's because we're at the end of the movie here.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. So, Quicksilver dies. Wanda's like, no. Because they're twins and they feel things.
Yeah, and then she like has a mind boggling, and she boggles everyone's mind.
Yeah, by dropping the city on its ass.
Sometimes you gotta drop a city.
You know, yeah, sometimes you gotta drop a city. Things happen. These things happen. You drop a city from 30,000 feet in the air.
So the city starts falling. Somewhere in space, Star-Lord is blasting free falling.
And I'm free.
It cuts to nowhere, and he's just there, like sitting down, listening to free falling.
And Tony's like cuts through and is like, Thor, on the count of 3 or whatever.
Mhm.
And counts down. Thor smashes it, blows up the whole city. So it doesn't crash into Earth, saving the Earth.
But destroying the city.
But destroying the city, you can rebuild the city. And some would say they have a pretty cool crater to start with now.
You could rebuild an Earth.
Yeah, terraform it.
Exactly. There's always the moon.
You could go to the moon, grab some moon, throw it in there. They save everyone. Everyone's all happy now, sort of. Not really. Their homes have been destroyed, but that kid's safe, I guess. And
that's all that matters, right? That the kid's
that's
safe.
all that matters, apparently.
So then the city is saved. Actually, sorry, the city is destroyed. The people are saved. Tony agrees to never do anything with AI again, probably. They go back to Avengers Campus, and I think it's Nick Fury is like, we found
Vision blasts Ultron into next week because there's one measly robot left.
A little stray Ultron comes up and is like, "You're quite naive," and Vision's like, "Well, I was born yesterday," and then fucking nukes him.
Yeah.
But then, we also forgot to mention Hulk gets into a Quinjet and fucks off.
I wonder where he would possibly be going.
Well, Nick Fury said there was a crashed ship somewhere in the Atlantic, so they're gonna check there, but I don't think they'll find anything.
There's probably a lot of paper people where he's going.
There is probably a lot of paper people. Thor, Captain America, and Tony walk down the hall discussing a very important situation of what would happen if you put a hammer in an elevator, because the elevator is not worthy, but the hammer would still go up. So is the hammer technically lifting up or is the elevator technically lifting up the hammer? Because I'm very curious in that as well.
I would like to see it done.
And if the hammer can lift... if the elevator can lift the hammer, does that mean that the only reason that Vision can lift the hammer is because Vision is an inanimate object and not a real person?
But he has a mind.
He does have a mind, but is he man or machine? I guess we'll answer that sometime in the future.
Maybe if we remove the stone, we could find out.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens when you remove a stone from a Vision. Don't you worry. So then they have that conversation, and then Thor's like, I'm going to go figure out this whole stone thing. He fucks off to Asgard. Tony and Cap continue to talk, and Tony's like, I'm going to buy Pepper a farm, and we're going to have farming simulations. And
Farming Simulator 2016.
And Steve's like, well, I'm going to continue to do this whole Avenger thing since I have no life outside of this.
Yeah, no Peggy Carter around.
And then he walks back in. A couple of random people assemble here. You got War Machine, you got Falcon, you got Scarlet Witch. And then Steve Rogers gives everybody the blue balls by saying Avengers, and it cuts off. He doesn't say assembled.
Just Avengers. You also have Scarlet Witch too in her full.
I did already say Scarlet Witch, actually, if you were paying attention.
I thought you said Black Widow. My bad.
I said Black Widow after I said Scarlet Witch.
I didn't hear that.
So then all that happens. Some credits happen. And then what else happens, Jake?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. It's actually Thanos going, fine, I'll do it myself.
In a scene that after you watch Infinity War makes no sense.
No.
Why did he have this?
I've probably sent that gif of fine, I'll do it myself no less than 2,000 times.
Yeah, that seems right. You've definitely sent it to me a lot.
Yeah. Well, you're probably one person I text.
But that's it. So that's the Avengers. Jacob, I did a good job retelling that story. So I'll give myself an A for this one. I'm 2 for 2 on these A's, I think.
Let's see. I give you a C+.
Well, since your opinion doesn't matter, and we are already pretty far into this episode, we will continue our fun facts, connections, and quiz next week. But this has been, well, This has been Marvel Cinematic University. If you stuck around this long, give us a follow. Share us with others if you think we're good. If you think we're terrible, also share us with others. Tell them to share us with others. And, keep this thing going, because if it's bad, it might as well have a lot of a bad thing. And if it's really good, can't have too much of a good thing.
We're either trying to be really bad or really good here, because mediocre doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, either way, give us a 5-star rating, share us with pals. Go follow us on our Instagrams and Twitters, AJ Slabs, Juicy Steak 12, and Marvel Cinematic University Pod 101. And I think that's all the jargon I've got today. Jacob, play us out.
Yeah, leave a 5-star comment and just write bad under it.